And welcome back to Habs Unfiltered. I'm joined now by our rival podcast, Offside Hockey. James, welcome to the show.
What's going on, buddy?
Oh, it's a tough day here in Habs land. The hangover from the big win last night. You know how it is. You know how it is.
Yeah, well, you guys should be celebrating. I don't know if you're going to build a banner or a statue or whatever. You beat the Leafs. I guess that's your cup right there.
Uh, you'd think it'd be the opposite. The way Leafs fans on social media kept going on all year, but suddenly it got really quiet. Like there were crickets online this morning. It was weird.
Yeah, well, I didn't have my usual diatribe before the game, but I would have loved to have put one out. I would have stood by it. There's no problem there. I mean, I would rather the Leafs lose now than when we play you guys in the playoffs.
It's
I
a valid
mean,
point.
I'd rather see. I look at it like this, okay? And I agreed with whoever posted on the Habs Unfiltered that this is a trap game for the Leafs. I felt it. I said 100%. That was what I said before the game even started. I looked at the Leafs. I look at a lot of the players that were potential to move. Dermott, Kerfoot. You inject a guy like Nick Robertson who hasn't been up with the squad for a little bit. And, you have a game where it's going to be a little, I think, lackluster, for lack of better terms. And also you look at the streak that Mr. Jack Campbell is on. The boys want to win it for him. But at the same time, it's pressure. It's a pressure to, hey, we got to keep that O. We got to keep the O for Jack. Good
Yeah.
pressure, bad pressure. Sometimes it starts to take on a life of its own, which it did. I mean, you couldn't look anywhere without everybody talking about Jack Campbell and, the 11-0 streak and et cetera, et cetera. So those things, you look at it, I like them to end sometimes because then the hoopla is gone, the circus goes away, and you can get back to doing what you're doing. Yeah, and I mean, now you have all these acquisitions that are coming in too. Guys are wondering where they're going to fit in the shuffling of the deck chairs here throughout the lineup too. Nick Foligno, you have Nosen coming in the playoffs. You'll have Nash. These different players coming through your lineup. Also, you went out and got your depth defenseman as well. Yeah, I don't know. I look at the Leafs and say their heads just weren't in it last night. They were up. Sheldon Keefe said they got into Montreal early to watch the Masters. So you talk about the winning hangover for Habs fans. What's the hangover for the Masters for those guys? Same thing.
Yeah, I'm the one that posted that just because listening to Keith talk about showing up early to watch the Masters, which is fine for like a team building thing, but it smelled of overconfidence.
Yep.
I mean, the Leafs are a very good hockey team. They're on a roll. Campbell has been playing extremely well, but those streaks have to come to an end eventually. Then you have the Canadians coming off possibly their worst game that they played all year long, and a deadline where the GM went out and actually picked up some depth players instead of selling off to show them a little bit, just a little bit of support. So you add all that together, it was definitely a trap game for Toronto. And it's not like Toronto didn't show up to play because even
They did.
despite the Canadians outplaying in the first period, Toronto came on strong in the second and third, but it just wasn't enough.
No, well, that last Anderson goal was an absolute beauty. I mean, you beat Campbell right at top corner. It's one of those goals where it's a highlight reel. It'll be everywhere. They kept showing it. But I look at it like this. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, when they get down this season, they've done a lot better job than past years. You could probably even admit of bouncing back, not folding up their chair and packing it in and looking dejected on the bench. They fight. They find a way, and I like that. And I think it's because of guys that they added in the lineup, like a Spezza, like a Thornton, now Foligno coming in, Wayne Simmons, Bogosian, you name it. Throughout their lineup, they longer just have Hyman and Muzzin trying to drag guys across the line. They got a bunch, which is nice. But I look at that game and I say, you know what? Okay, say la vie, move on. It wasn't the worst game in the world for them. And like I said, it kind of cut the media circus around Jack Campbell off. So now he's 11-1. And now you got to figure out what you're going to do tonight. Are you going to bounce back against the Flames? How's Rittich going to play for the Maple Leafs? Where do you fit Nick Robertson? And all these things are going to start coming together. And I'm excited for the run for the Leafs, but I got to ask for you. I look at the Montreal Canadiens and I look at it like the Toronto Maple Leafs a few years ago, where Lou went out and got a couple depth guys like a Panic from Montreal, just to say, hey, I notice you guys are doing well, but we're not there yet. But I want to show you guys that we understand that you guys have put the effort forth where we are where we are, huge improvement over last year, 24th to where you are now. This is what we got you. What do you think of the depth moves that were made?
They were decent moves. Yeah, I mean, you add depth at center, you had depth on defense. They gave up almost nothing to get it, so it's really it all it is just plugging the dike. They're buying time for their younger guys who are in the minors or playing lesser roles to develop a little bit more over the year. When the season started, myself, co-hosts Treg and Matt, we all kind of agreed this is a team that looks like it's about a third place team in the North. Maybe they win the first round, and that's good because it's a step forward. And it looks like that's the team that Canadians fans have this year. So I'm gonna turn your question on to you. What did you think of that deadline of the deadline moves that Dubas made? I mean, he came out flat out said, "We're all in. I'll give up anything to get to get what we need." And he goes out and he gets Foligno, he gets depth defense, Nosen, who I think is just going to end up sitting on the bench, or if he even dresses, he is a depth player.
Yep.
But I think Foligno is the big move. Being from Sudbury, grew up in Sudbury myself, so I know the Foligno family quite well. I think it's a good move for Toronto. What did you find with that move? Did you think he overpaid?
Well, here we'll back the truck up just a little bit because obviously I count Galchenyuk as a move that was, an addition because you listen to Dubas talk, and he said about Galchenyuk's play was the reason why they didn't go, big game hunting for a Taylor Hall or an offensive piece like that because of what Galchenyuk did, and that was a move that nobody saw coming, and also I don't think anybody saw him being able to do what he's done so far with Toronto, given the fact he's bounced around so much. And I know we talked before we came on, get used to it. What he did last night with Montreal, giving the puck away and things like that. Players do that. I mean, we have a guy named William Nylander that does that a lot too. But to talk about yesterday and Sunday as well, Foligno is exactly what the Leafs need. I think he's going to be great on the penalty kill. I think it'll be a real pain in the arse to see Hyman and Foligno killing penalties. Two hardworking guys that are just going to fight for that puck, and those are the guys you want. You want those kind of guys. I look at, I agree with you with Nosen. I don't think he's going to play a whole bunch. He may get a couple games down the stretch to give some guys like Thornton and Spezza time off, which I think Thornton needs time off now. He's kind of slowed, and he got to remember too, people don't remember the fact he was playing before our season started. He played, I think it was 12 or 14 games over in Europe. So, he's older. So he's put a little bit more miles on than everybody else. Maybe dial it back a bit, let him rest. He'll tell you he doesn't need it, but definitely do. And then you get Ben Hutton. And for me, Ben Hutton is not Martin Marincin. And that's the big thing for me. You looked at us, and I was long saying in any show that I was on, anybody I spoke with, whether it was, guys from that cover the Leafs or whatever, I said, if you look at what the Leafs need, you can plug and play on forward. You have guys like Robertson. You have guys down in the minors that can come in like Augustino and different players like that. You can add to your top 9 or top 12 if you need to. But when you get down to defense, if you lose O'Reilly, if you lose a Muzzin, a Dermott, Bogosian, you name it on your D, who's the next man? Who is the most experienced next man up? And it goes to Martin Marincin. And then if Leafs fans, which I know you do, they do not like Martin Marincin. Everybody freaks out at the name Martin Marincin. Everybody starts posting pylons, and the traumatic experience that I have with Martin Marincin was last year in the playoffs in the bubble, when you look at Liam Foudy, a young man who's just breaking in, cutting his teeth. He's in the corner with the puck. Marincin stands there like a deer in headlights. He walks Marincin, tucks it short side, and there goes the Leaf season. It's over. So, yeah, adding a depth defenseman that wasn't named Martin Marincin was huge. And, we listened to them talk about Sandin and Liljegren. Those are two young guys that I think are going to make an impact as well that you'll probably see in the Leafs lineup with time to come, much like they did with Dermott a few years ago, where they gave him a few games to tail end and had him in the playoffs. So I think we have what we need now. I'm happy that we didn't spend any of our, prospects. I want to see what Amirov can do. I want to see what Robertson can do, Sandin, Liljegren, you name it down the line. I want to see what these guys can do. But for the price he paid for Foligno, they better get past the second round. They better get past the second
That
round.
was going to be
And
my question. Yeah. How
yeah,
far do you think they're going to go?
well, to me, they're built now better than they were last season. And I think better than they were going into the deadline with Foligno and Hutton and guys that can step in and play. We don't know what Willie Nylander's going to be like when he gets back. Obviously, a little rusty. We also don't know what Freddie Anderson's going to do between the pipes. They said that he's in the plans. He's the guy that they're going to turn to. I don't know how you rip it out of Jack Campbell's hands. But again, it is his net to lose, I guess, for Freddie. I mean, he battled for the Leafs when they needed him. He fought hard. He didn't look great, but it did come out that he played through an injury because Campbell wasn't available and they had no one else. So he played through that. So, I mean, you give him full marks for that. But what Freddie shows up, I don't know. We all know that when Freddie starts a season, and has that time off, we all call it October Freddie for a reason because he's not ready. The Leafs have to score a lot of goals to support him. So is that what you're getting going into the playoffs? Or are you going to get a Freddie Anderson who's ready to dominate because he wants a new contract? What are you getting? And that's the big thing. And I think that's why they went and got Rittich to, supplant the fact that maybe Freddie won't be ready and you run with those two. But if you would have told me beginning of the season, their three-headed monster would be an 11-0 at the time before he lost last night, Jack Campbell going into the deadline, Freddie Anderson, and David Rittich, I would have been dancing in the streets because we all know Big Save Dave can do some things for you, and especially with the Leafs offense up front. And they're more attention to detail. I mean, Matthews' 200-foot game has grown. So you look at the different things, right? Those things, to me, add to where the Leafs can go beyond the second round.
Yeah, Matthews' game looked amazing while he was laying on the ice underneath Romanov.
Listen, hey, you know what? That Romanov kid, he's an absolute buzzsaw, and he's going to be fun for you guys for years. And I want to pause for the cause, man. I don't understand Leafs fans when it comes to Cole Caulfield. He's going to be a great player. I'm loving what he's doing in Laval. But I told you this before, I think when we were DMing. It was either DM or we had you on or something. I said I hope Montreal takes their time with it. I hope they don't put him in the lineup because here's what I hope. Or don't hope. I hope he doesn't light it up in Laval and they expect him to do the same thing in the NHL. That expectation, because you know how fans are. People who talk about the team and do podcasts and whatever, cover right for the teams or whatever, they understand, hey, realistic expectations. Don't go in and think he's going to go blow the doors off. Not that he couldn't. You never know. But if he takes his time and learns the NHL game and gets up to that speed, and it takes him time to start scoring at a regular rate, I wouldn't be irate. You wouldn't be irate. But, casual fan, oh, Caulfield sucks. Why is he in the lineup? And that stupid pressure. And you'd see it all over social media. I don't want that to happen because we did that to Luke Shen. We started doing that to Nick Robertson when he didn't score. Everybody was so excited about Nick Robertson, what he did in the AHL. And, oh, he's got great hands, great speed, no finish. And everybody was freaking out about it. Give these kids time. And I hope Montreal fans give Cole Caulfield all the runway he freaking needs because he's going to be an absolute stud for you guys. And I'm pumped for it. I like the rivalry to have good players on either side. And he has a chance to be a blue chip superstar for you guys.
Well, that's the expectation for myself eventually. But right now, yep. I agree. Leave him in Laval. I mean, his 2 game-winning goals against the Marlies in his 2 games played, it's a good start, but it's just a start. So I'm gonna pose it to you, going back to the Leafs. How far do they have to go to make this a successful season? And if they don't reach that, is it time to make massive changes?
See, for me, I would say 3rd round or bust. It's got to be 3rd in this year where and I'm not saying this to bash any fan base. So anybody who sees this, don't think I'm just sitting on my Leaf high horse because we're number 1 in the North. Hello down there, Montreal. They've had good records against every single team that is going to be going into the playoffs. Their toughest taste, I think, was Winnipeg so far. Edmonton, they shut them down for 3 games, shut up Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. 1 point between the two of them in 3 games. That stretch. They've been able to, like you said it yourself last night, they're able to turn it on against Montreal, so they can hang with everyone. So I think that if you don't make the 3rd round or further in this year, where it's kind of a path to get to the Final Four, then what are you doing? This team is built to win right this second. It's absolutely built, because you have guys like Matthews who can score, Marner who can score, Nylander. You go down the list of who could score. You have guys who work hard now in Hyman, Muzzin, Foligno's coming in. He's going to be one of those guys. You wanted to shore up and get a pesky guy for the playoffs. Hello, Riley Nash. You got that guy. You got your young scorers too, and Robertson, guys like Mikheyev that can score. You found a chip in Engvall that can be a guy who can play for you in the playoffs, and that'll run through a wall for you. You got goaltending depth for once. The Leafs forever have been a problem at goaltending, but now you have Freddie, Campbell, and Rittich. This has to be a successful playoff run. There's no ands, if, buts about it. You brought in Joe Thornton for a reason. Nick Foligno waived when he had the opportunity to go to stateside teams because he saw what this team could probably do, which is something special. You convinced him to come to your squad because this is what it is. And then you look at what's coming on the horizon. You're going to have to pay Freddie if you want to keep him. You're going to have to pay Hyman. Riley's coming. So somewhere down the line, you're going to have to make some major surgery on this roster anyways. So if you want this group to do anything, it has to be this season, because there are going to be moves that are going to have to be made going forward.
Well, I mean, they have been building towards this for the last, 7, 8 years now, through the draft, adding free agents, making trades, dropping first-round picks on depth players. I'm sure Nick Foligno showing up had nothing to do with his dad being a Leafs legend himself. So I'm not expecting Nick to do the Foligno jump if he scores a goal for Toronto at all, as I nod yes for those who aren't watching on video.
Oh no, that's happening. He said as much that he'll probably pay the homage to his dad.
Oh yeah. So I agree. If they don't, at minimum, make the finals, there's going to be a couple of major moves. And I'm going to ask you this. Do you really think that Campbell is the goaltender going forward over Anderson?
No, I've long said that. And the reason why is I got to have a great conversation, and not to pull what my co-host does all the time with name dropping here, but Dennis Bernstein over, covers the LA Kings. I had a great talk with him about Jack Campbell. And when Campbell went in to relieve Jonathan Quick, now, yes, this was on a losing LA King team. We know what they are going through, but he did not hold his own very well. But he may be one of those guys that blooms late. Look at Dubnik. There's all kinds of different instances lately that have guys of 28, 29, 30 catching fire and being a goaltender for the next 5 years. So is the Campbell that is what you need to ask yourself. And is it going to be a tandem? And if it's going to be a tandem, is it going to be David Rittich and Jack Campbell going into next season? But for this playoffs, it's Freddie's net. They've already said that. Keith and Dubas has basically already said that. We just have to get him up to speed. And I think what you're going to see is the first game, if Freddie ends up getting shelled, but the Leafs still find a way to win, so say 7-5, I don't think you turn back to him. I think you put Campbell in game 2 and see how he fares. And if it ends up being, 4-1 or 2-0 or 3-0 for the Leafs in game 2, no matter who they're playing, and they win again, then you know whose net it is.
Do you think that Keefe is going to stay too close to a starter like he did in the play-ins last year when they were playing Columbus? He didn't take Anderson out.
That's the thing this year, though. I mean, you look last year, we didn't know what we had in Jack Campbell. He didn't get to play a whole lot for the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's a reason why he's only 11-0 or 11-1 now with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's only played 12 games with the Leafs. 12 games total, right? So you didn't know what you had there. You didn't know what you were throwing in between the pipes. Now you know. Now you know you got Jack Campbell who will double pad stack. He'll dive across the net. He'll throw his whatever part of his body to stop the puck. That's what he does. He doesn't look conventional. I don't know if you've seen that, but he'll scramble any which way he can to stop that biscuit. And that's what he does. So now the Leafs know they have that. And you also know what you have in Dave Rittich. You know what he can do for you too. You know he can put up big things, especially on a team that's in front of you that can score goals. And everybody says, oh, well, at least major weapons to power play. Hi, guys. I don't know if you've watched playoff hockey, but the whistle pretty much goes away. There's maybe 1-2 calls per team in a game, if that, in the playoffs. You get away with some egregious stuff. And I don't know if anybody's noticed as well, Leaf fans, our power play sucks right now.
Well,
Absolutely sucks.
it's not 7% sucks. Habs have the advantage on that one. So,
But with a guy like Austin Matthews and all the weapons we have, our power play should not be as stagnant as it is. It should be better. Malhotra had it rolling at the beginning of the season. You look at Leafs fans last night crying about Malhotra needs to go. But, they need to get something going, do something different. And my thing is, if you're on the power play, who do you trust defensively to kill penalties for you? Marner? Matthews? You've done it? Okay, good. So Marner's and Matthews, those are your point guys right there. Have Austin cycle down a little bit, but run 5 forwards. Run your best 5 guys, best 5 forwards, and just make it an absolute circus to keep the puck. It'll be Tavares, it'll be Matthews, it'll be Marner, it'll be Willie Nylander, and then whoever you want to put in that last spot. Whoever you want to be the guy. But run 5 forwards and get it rolling.
Now, how much of what team is really in Toronto's head? Who do they really want to have, and who do they really want to avoid?
That's tough because it varies, with who they play. If you ask me right now, I think the team they don't want to play is the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets seem to have their number. For whatever reason, Connor Hellebuck goalies the hell out of them. But if you're looking for a matchup that's going to be difficult for the Leafs, and I'll say this, I'm not a huge basher of the Habs. The Habs are going to be hard to play against. Why? Because of what they did last night. Guys like Weber and Romanoff lowering the boom, and Toronto didn't respond. Nobody did it back. There was no Simmons lowering one. There was no Muzzin with the hip check. There was none of that kind of stuff going on. I will say that Austin Matthews has a lot more snarl this season, and that bump back reverse check, he's really putting that into work and, knocking guys down. He sat Shea Weber down last year, so he knows he can do it. Now
Is he using his butt because his shoulders are so weak?
Oh, look at this. Sorry. His shoulders are tired from carrying the NHL as a superstar.
Oh,
there it is.
No, we're talking about Matthews, not McDavid.
Oh, what McDavid? Please, McDavid. Listen, you got to have a little personality, okay? I love Connor McDavid, great hockey player, but the personality flair is definitely not there.
I'm sorry, but a cheesy mustache does not count as personality.
I'm sorry. When was Connor in GQ exactly? When was Connor out there hanging out with Justin Bieber and doing all these things?
How many goals did GQ magazine get him?
I don't know. Well, obviously got him some flex. But no, I look at it and I say Montreal would probably be the Leafs' big trouble. But again, I look at Montreal and say, who am I getting in net? Am I getting Carey Price that'll absolutely stonewall the hell out of you? Or am I getting Carey Price that is frantic and we can beat?
Or Jake Allen because Price is hurt.
That's it, right? But I mean, Jake Allen can steal you games. We've seen it. We've seen it done in St. Louis. We've seen him do it. But again, I go back to what I said about the Montreal Canadiens. Who are your game breakers? Who are the guys that are absolute NHL proven game breakers that can score you that clutch goal and been known to do it? And you can't say Toffoli and you can't say Anderson because they're not. They're complementary players. When a game is on a line and you got to put a puck on a stick, would you rather have Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, or would you rather have Suzuki, Kotkaniemi, Anderson, and Toffoli?
Well, it's clear that the star power is in Toronto's camp. There's no doubts about that. But playoff hockey is more, it's a tighter game. So how do those star players hold up in those tight games? That's what's going to be the difference, I think. Yes, they can score at will at times. And if they're given that opportunity, that little opening, that sliver they tend to get it. But do they get that sliver? Everything depends on how tight you're checked.
See, I think having a guy like Thornton for Matthews and Marner in the playoffs, and this is why I've been harping that Thornton needs to take a break and recharge on Myers for the playoffs, because his legs aren't there right now, and he's kind of looking a little lost at times. And that's not a knock, but it's just the truth. But you put him with Matthews and Marner, that's a guy who's playoff built, in my opinion. He knows how to battle in front of the net. He knows how to battle hard, push guys, and lean on guys, and give guys space. And he's done it his whole career. And he also knows how to find those slivers you just talked about to get to a Matthews or get to a Marner. So I think that's why that line will be pretty effective in the playoffs. I look at guys like Hyman, though, who will outwork you. And then you put, just imagine this, Tavares with Foligno and Hyman. That's sick. Those two guys will go in and dig out the puck, and away you go. And then you have a line, your third line, of Kerfoot, Mikheyev, and William Nylander, if you want to. Because I don't see Willie. I know that Keefe will put him back there to start, but realistically, I think he's on the third line. And that's just another weapon for you. So the key is, I think, for the Leafs is to make sure that depth scoring actually gets rolling in the playoffs. And, if the slivers aren't there for the top guys, how well are these bottom guys going to play? And you've seen guys like Spezza have great movement, great goal scoring this season. At $700K, you can't complain for what he's done. If Mikheyev could ever finish, he'd be an absolute stud in the goal scoring. But yeah, I don't know, man. I look at it like this and say, I think Toronto wins the North. I really do. And that's just not a homer talk.
And if they don't, it's time to blow it up. Time to fire GMs.
If you bow out in round 3 in this season, where the path is there for you, there is no easier time for the Leafs to get to the conference final. There's no easier time. Yes, I think that you have to start looking at long, hard what's going on, what's in the mirror, and what goes on. Great, look at Washington. Great regular season team for so freaking long. So long. And then they loaded up that one year, got Shattenkirk, loaded up. All the bells and whistles you can possibly get, did them nothing. Then they simplified it. They went back with Ovi and Backstrom and just kind of like knocked it back to where, beginning of time, so to speak, and they won. So is that what the Leafs need to do? Do they need to make sure that they just focus on, hey, maybe keep Matthews Marner, let Hyman, not let him walk, but see you later Hyman, see you later fucking Nylander and whoever else, pardon my French, but you start getting frustrated just thinking about it, right? Because the talent's there. For me with these guys, and I'll say it, and I don't care who don't like it, it's the effort level. If they don't bring their effort, when the Leafs bring their effort level, when the young guys, I should say the young guys, when the young guys bring their effort level, there's nobody touching them in the North. Nobody touching them. But if they play a little listless like they did the first period last night and have to play catch-up hockey, I don't like their chances.
I'm kind of, just for the sake of my social media, I'm kind of hoping they end early, just so I don't have to watch all this crap constantly posted and the constant Habs suck bullshit that I see on there. And it's even when they're not even playing against each other, which astounds me. Like, why is one team that you're not even playing against so in your head? Just go out and do your thing. You got all these star players. Leave us the frig alone. We're in the middle of building our own crap right now.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't take digs unless we're playing. I don't. I don't look over and see what's going on. But unless they get absolutely demolished, then I might be like, oh well, that didn't go as planned.
No,
because then you look at it and you're like, okay, that's because say what you will, Habs fans, if the Leafs get embarrassed by somebody, Habs fans are all over us about the 4 big boys. Oh, what is it? $44 million tied up in 4 guys and can't even win a game.
I send it by DM. I just do it by DM because it's just
I know
easier.
you do, but I see a lot of Habs Twitter go absolutely bananas if the Leafs get embarrassed, which is fine. But for me, I don't take a whole lot of shots, veiled or unveiled. I don't, unless they're playing each other. And even still, I'll do a prediction season video and I'll take my fun shots in there. And other than that, I'm pretty cordial when it comes to it. There's no,
Yeah.
nastiness or anything.
I believe in karma.
Yep.
I believe because the hockey gods are vindictive.
Karma water.
Yeah. Hockey gods are vindictive. If you start dunking on some other team, you're going to get dunked on very
Oh, for
soon
sure.
after. So,
For sure. But listen, I say this without my homer cap on. This division this year is the Leafs to lose. I really feel that way. They have the star power. It's great to have a McDavid and a Draisaitl, but their goaltending is sus. You don't know what they have between the pipes.
oh, we do know.
What's
Crap.
that?
They got
Yeah,
crap.
well, that's just it though. But I mean, Mike Smith can catch lightning in a bottle, as we all know, and run away, and he's done it.
Or dive out of the way.
That's it. But then you look at Winnipeg and you say, okay, Winnipeg, beautiful top six, great goaltending. How's your D looking?
Well, they just got Jordy Ben, so it's it's
come
amazing.
on.
It's amazing.
You know what I mean? That's their Achilles heel. No team is perfect, but I look at the Toronto Maple Leafs and I look what they have as players and what they're able and capable of doing. And then the depth they have at all positions now, including defense and goaltender. I say that this is their division to lose throughout the playoffs. Now I go and say that and watch Montreal cakewalk in first round, and we're asking where Austin Matthews is playing next year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how easy it is for fans in the media to turn on players. It's the same in Montreal as it is in Toronto.
Yep.
Except in Toronto, it's pump the tire, pump the tires, pump the tires, and then snap, everything's different. Whereas in Montreal, we've got our scapegoat. Now everyone's a scapegoat. It's kind of a tale of two cities.
Toronto, we have our whipping boys, but I mean, and this year for me, it's been Kerfoot. I've looked at Kerfoot and I seen what he could do in the bubble last year, and then coming into this season, he was supposed to be relied on as defensive center. Lead the penalty kill, which he looked good in the bubble, but his faceoff numbers are abysmal, and the guy hasn't been able to do what he did. He didn't replicate that success he had. So yeah, he was my guy that I leaned on. But no, I agree with you, and that's why I was talking about Cole Caulfield. You can't go saying this guy's going to shoot out the lights and heap such high expectations on him, and then when it doesn't happen, start souring on the guy so quickly. Allow the guy.
How could he only score 35 goals a year? He was supposed to do 50.
That's
that
it.
Kind of crap.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know last time you checked, but there ain't a whole hell of a lot of 30-goal scorers in the NHL to begin with.
Exactly.
It's rarefied air. And if you're getting into the 40s and 50s, well, then you're in single-fied air, because usually it's only Ovechkin up there. Maybe McDavid and Pasternak. And recently Austin Matthews has entered the chat, but he hasn't really gotten there. He's been in the 40s, but he didn't get to the 50. And I know this year, and I said at the beginning of the season, him not winning the Rocket last year, or at least being on par with Ovi and Pasta, that was a fucking burr in his saddle. Sorry again, dropping the F-bombs, but that was a burr in his saddle. He said it. He said it the same way I just did. It pissed him off because he thought he could win it. And that's what he's used this year. And before the wrist injury, I mean, who could deny him? He's shooting the lights out. And now looking him up, I think it's 32 goals on the season, leading the NHL. That's a thing for him to lose, right? I mean, he'd have to tail off right at the end of the season and not score anymore and get past. So I do hope he wins it.
Just a trophy with an asterisk. That's all that is.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. So are you saying the Stanley Cup the Tampa Bay won last year was an asterisk trophy?
No.
It's the same thing.
It's a team. That's a team thing. They had the full playoff, the four rounds. There's no asterisk on there.
Everybody else getting to play the same 56 games.
Hey, I'm just putting out the truth that it was a partial season, and they always put an asterisk on the partial season because it's a partial season, just like Subban's Norris Trophy back in 2013.
No, to me, if you win the trophy, you win the trophy. Period.
I agree, but it's going to have the asterisks on it. They're always going to say, "Well, it was a partial season."
Okay, cool. Give Austin Matthews more runway to score more goals. Maybe he would get 60 this year in an 82-game season.
Yeah, it honestly, with the way he's going this year, had it been a full season, it's easily a 50-goal season. Easily.
Well, he would have hit the 50 mark last year.
Well,
You
if
would
he
have been
wasn't
right
so fragile, yeah.
Oh God. So listen, you got up for that Romanov hit. I was impressed.
I was impressed too. You know, the first thing that came up with was his stick.
Listen, I'm gonna love it when the Leafs play the Habs first round. It's gonna be absolute pandemonium. I can't wait because we're obviously gonna do a lot more of this. There'll be a lot more chirping. Um, I'll have to do my prediction season video. I mean, I'm staring at it right now. I don't know if I can spin this around. Staring at your home base right now over there, by.
Oh, on the other side, yeah. Yeah, I haven't been there in a few days. It's a hard time not being there.
Oh yeah, just crying your eyes out.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to do a video down there. I'll do it down at metal stores because they know me there and I won't get too much trouble. But I'll do it there and just lay down a Habs jersey or something and run it over with a trolley car or something.
Yeah, you go right ahead. The karma will get you.
Listen, hey, you never know, right? You never know. Boston fans seem to do those things and they win all kinds of championships. So
yeah, but now the chickens are coming home to roost in Boston.
Oh man, isn't that a good feeling?
Yes.
Not a good feeling. You look at Marchand and you say, well, you had your time in the sun. See you later.
Yeah.
I don't think they're done, but I think they're on their way out. The window is closing.
I paid Brad back. I leave him little presents on the beach at the end of his property because he's just on the other side from me. So go over there, leave him little gifts every now and then. He comes and picks them up in the summertime.
There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, Jesus. No, I can't wait, buddy. Listen, the rest of this season, I think we got, what, is it 4 games left?
4 or 5. Yeah.
So, I mean, we got a lot of runway left to chirp each other still. But I will steadfastly say I think this is the Leafs division to lose. And whoever comes out of the Canadian division, this will be the easiest path any of the Canadian teams will get to be in the Final Four and a chance for the Stanley Cup. So I hope whatever team, whether it's the Leafs, whether it's the Habs, whether it's the Jets or Edmonton, which I really don't think they'll get past round 1. But if it's any of those teams, I hope this opportunity isn't squandered because it's been so long since we've seen a Canadian team win the Stanley Cup. And yes, it was the Habs last time, but even that is starting to be a long, long time ago. So
it has been a long time because I was just finishing up basic training when they won the Cup. So that's how long ago this was.
How old was I? Hang on. I would have been 6.
Yeah. Yeah. I just graduated high school, finished basic training, and there you go.
So here I thought I was almost the same age as you, but clearly I'm not.
No, I'm an old fart.
Well, you got a lot more experience, watching teams. And hey, you got to actually enjoy that Cup win for the Montreal Canadiens. I'm sure lots of people were way too young to fully embrace what that meant.
I was in the building. I had a good time.
Jesus. So what is your expectations, though, for the Montreal Canadiens? I didn't get to ask you. What do you think they're going to do playoff-wise? Where do you think they go? I know you said round 1 would be a success if they won 1 round.
Yep.
But what do you think of the Montreal Canadiens' chances of running the gauntlet in the North?
It depends on who they're playing. They don't have a very good record against Toronto. I mean, it's great that they won last night. They played extremely well, but they've played Toronto pretty tight, but have just been missing something. There's that extra little bit. Seems like that extra little bit is just hard work for 60 minutes. So if they can pull that off for a 7-game series and beat the Leafs, even better. But if they play Winnipeg or if they play Edmonton, they could win that series. If they win the North Division, they're definitely further ahead than any reasonable person should give them credit. They're not a cup contender. They're just a good team who could surprise you in the playoffs. I'm not going to lie. They could go on a good run. I mean, you look at the first 10 games of the season, they were lights out amazing. So if you hit a streak like that in the playoffs, yeah, they could cause some damage, but it's not expected. So
see, it's nice to hear realistic fans because there's some that I saw last night oh, we beat Toronto and this is only a precursor of what's to come. And, you know, you look at those things, it's like, okay, yeah, I think the series is going to be highly contested. I don't think it's a sweep on either side. I don't think it's going to be, easy for either team. I think Toronto will win, but I do think it's 6 or 7 games. And I think it's because Montreal knows how to hang around. They have the players to push you around, and they have the goaltending that if it's on, it's going to be a hard game for you to win. It'll be a low-scoring affair.
Whoever plays Montreal, if they beat Montreal in that round, they're going to be very beat up, and they're going to have a hard time getting through the next one. It's going to be a series of attrition against the Canadiens because they're going to come at you in waves. They're going to be very physical. They're built for that type of hockey. So I don't know. If it is Toronto and it's the first time these two teams play each other in the playoffs since 79?
Yep.
It's going to be a nightmare to be on social media or walk through the dockyard because, there's a lot of transplanted Upper Canadians who, honestly, Upper Canadians. I mean, come on. You Upper Canadians. I grew up in the North, so I don't count as Upper Canadian. So I'm better.
Hey, don't break your legs coming off that high horse, brother.
No, it's in the North we ride moose.
Oh, geez, yeah. Even worse, higher up, buddy.
Damn straight.
Jesus Christ, don't get trampled. Don't get trampled. Listen, I agree with you. Whoever plays Montreal, it's going to be fun. But we have to admit this. No matter who plays who, and is it set in stone that it's 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3 or no?
Yep.
Okay, so it's going to be Toronto-Montreal. It's going to be.
It's still kind of in the air right now because the Canadiens hold all those games in hand. Winnipeg lost last night to Ottawa. If the Canadiens can pick up a little bit of ground on Winnipeg, we'll see. We'll see. It's definitely doable where the Canadiens can finish as high as second. It is still doable.
Listen, I don't want to see them in second. Stay where you are and let's have this battle.
I think a second round battle will be much better.
Yeah, but if
you could just see the memes. Just think of the memes, King of the North memes coming out of everywhere.
Oh, it will be. It absolutely will be. It's going to be, yeah. Okay, now you convinced me. I want Toronto-Montreal second round. That's going to be freaking awesome. But the thing that I'm wondering, though, you look at what happens, though, beyond that. So where do they play? Once you win the Canadian division, where do you go? Who do you play? How's it set up? Those things don't seem to be finalized. And as a player, I'd want to know that. But as a person who covers a team, is Toronto going to Buffalo? Is Montreal going to play in Boston? If Boston's out?
Well, Buffalo sounds like a decent place to go. They're not making the playoffs, so their rink's available.
Yeah, but you want that bad karma, the bad juju that goes on there?
The scoreboard might fall on someone.
The scoreboard the Pagulas might try to buy something for you, and it's all downhill from there.
No, but it's more than likely that whatever team comes out of Canada is going to have to go down to the States just because of the quarantine.
I say we just have them all up here. Come on up.
Worked out last time.
Let's do it. Do a neutral site, all down in Halifax. Low COVID cases.
Yeah.
We can have some fans in the building. Why not? Come on now.
We're starting to get our vaccines now. It'll be all done by the time they get here.
Let's hope. Let's freaking hope. Holy crap.
Well, my arm's sore from getting mine, so
Oh yeah, right. Rubs are in there, bud. I'm a few decades away from getting mine. I think we're in the 60s now.
I don't know. I'm military.
You're a service member though, different.
Yeah.
I gotta wait for my 30 to 35 age group.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah, I'll see myself in September.
Probably.
Getting shot one. But no, man, hey, I can't wait for the rest of the season. I can't wait for the playoffs. So honestly, you convinced me for round 2. The King of the North thing will be absolutely awesome. We'll have to have some sort of show versus show bet for the King of the North if that happens. There has to be something that is done.
Treg wants to do some kind of arm wrestling match at everything that he does, so I'll just throw him at you. You guys can arm wrestle over it.
Listen, no, I'm saying that if the Leafs win, someone from Habs and Filter has got to dress up in full King of the North Leaf garb. That's got to happen. And I will gladly do it if the Habs beat the Leafs. I will parade across the bridge with a full Montreal flag and full get up,
as fun
clanging
as
my
that,
Montreal shield.
I would not do that to someone else. That just, whew, damn. No, that's just mean. Just
I can see
mean.
it. It would be the best. It would make you want your team to win that much more.
I suppose. I mean, I'm already walk around behind you yelling shame, shame, shame as it is.
We're not talking about the Habs here, brother.
Uh,
We're not talking. Listen, hey, who holds the better season record right now? I'm just saying. Just saying. You see, this is what I mean. Habs fan won one game. Now it's all Leafs are the worst.
Yeah, exactly. The Canadians have what, 2 wins in the series so far? But the Leafs don't have any playoff wins in the last century. So until they win a series, I cannot believe in this team.
Hang on a minute. They've had, you mean decade, not century.
Yeah.
The early
sorry, 2003. That was the last time they won.
Yeah, early 2000s. They made it to the conference final twice.
Was it the conference final in 03?
It was against Carolina. Where McGillney gave the puck out behind the net. And
I missed that year. I was
02. That was 02.
02. Yeah, I missed that year too.
McGillney.
I was fighting in the Afghan wars in those years, so I missed those years.
You were doing the right thing. We were doing well, at that point I was only a freaking teenager, so I was still beyond wet behind the ears.
So yeah, okay. So since the lockout, I guess.
No, you can say it's for the past. You're almost lucky. You could almost say the past 2 decades. It was 2 more years.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, that's how long it's been.
Time.
Till this edition wins a series. This edition. I can care less what they did 15 years ago. This group with this core hasn't won yet. Once they do, then I'll start to believe that they have the chance. Till then, I can't.
Yeah, well, I look at round 1 and I say, you know what? We'll wipe out the Habs and we'll move forward. And look, if it's round 1 and we play Winnipeg, I think the Habs were in round 2. I really do. Because you go against a team like Winnipeg will grind you down. They don't have as much as Montreal, but they will grind you down, and they can score some ugly goals with their top 9. And then you go up against a team like Montreal in the second round who can physically lay a beating on you. I don't know if Toronto's young guys are built for that. The Matthews, the Marners, and Nylanders. I don't know how much pain they can take and how much they're willing to go.
It's hard to. I don't think Matthews can shoulder that kind of pain.
Ooh. Listen. Hey, I don't think Weber can leg it out.
No, he's got one leg.
Oh no, he can't. That's gone.
It's just the one leg. There's no crossovers. There's no crossovers, but the leg's there.
Hey, at least he can defend to the left, unlike Erik Karlsson.
Karlsson defends.
Oh, I just pissed off all the San Jose Shark fans. He's the best defender in the league.
Sure.
Yeah. That's why the Norris Trophy is never for the best defender.
No, not anymore. No, not
it's
since
for the
Rod Langway.
Who puts up the most points, period.
Not since Rod Langway. So we'll stop there. You give my listeners where can they find you so they can chirp the shit out of you?
Listen, you can find us at Offside Talk on Twitter. You can find us on TikTok, Offside Talk as well, TOK on that one. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. You listen to your favorite podcast. Shoot us a line, chirp us anytime. No problem. As these guys will say, we're not that bad. We don't go too hard. We'll make sure we get the boxes out of Kleenex and dry your eyes when you guys lose to the Maple Leafs. No problem.
Oh, I love the salt. That's must be it's all the salt from you being on the road. That's what it is.
It is. It 100% is. I'm a salty old truck driver, man.
That's right. Well, James, I want to thank you for coming out and chirping us back and forth. This has been fun, and I hope you come back again soon.
Definitely will, man. Thanks, Blain, as always.